Everbookers, Happy New Year. Brian Wolfmuller here, Everbook inventor. I'm on vacation, but my wife Carrie said you should do something on how you use Everbook for your New Year's resolutions for New Year's Day. I thought it was a pretty good idea. I am planning to give you guys a full video on how I do an annual review when I get home, because there's a handful of different files. So how you take stuff out of Everbook and then put it back into kind of bring it back into your system and consider all those things. I want to show you that for the annual review. But here's how I want to show you this real quick, one-handed video, one-handed Everbook unfolding, how I do this. So I've got a bundle in my Everbook called Work Week. And this is basically the weekly review folder. It has a project list. Here's, it says on the front, it's got a project list, it's got yearly calendars, it's got my waiting for, it's got my wild ideas, it's got my areas of focus. All that kind of stuff is in here. And so when it's time for a weekly review, I pull this out and I run through it, and it gives me an overview of sort of everything that I've got going. I've got the 2020 calendar that I'm about to retire. 2021 calendar is on there that I'll look at. 2022 calendar even is starting to grow with various events. But last year, what I did was I got just a nice half sheet of paper, and I wrote in it on the top, 2020, what's the big picture? And this was a chance to sort of review of the things that I want to really, each week I want to bring my attention back to this thing. And I added to it throughout the week, or throughout the year. And I just want to share this. So this is how I do what's it called? Resolutions. There's no resolutions. There's no real goals on here. These are more like things that I want to stay focused on, that I don't want to lose my attention on. So I'll give you a few of them. I'm a pastor. Probably a lot of you guys know that. So a bunch of these are going to be theological, but let me give you the non-theological ones first. The first one, it says, listen. Be good at listening. Turn your visits into experiments in listening. So that was 2020, number one. The second one was speak ASL. I was trying to learn, and still trying to learn, American Sign Language, and so that was my number 2 goal for 2020, is to be able to have conversations in ASL. And I think I'm getting close. I'm not quite there yet, but that's there. Another one here at the bottom is creatively use YouTube and other platforms. I wanted to, it occurs to me that all the new media stuff, there's a typical sort of pattern about how it is to be used, but there's a creativity, there's a way that you can, there's a way that you can take the cilantro and add it to American food kind of thing. In other words, I wanted to use the platforms a little bit differently than they were supposed to be used. And so I always wanted to keep that on my mind. Remember, here's another kind of Everbooky thing. Change desire as a project, or name project outcomes with an emotion. So I wanted 2020 to not simply be the year of kind of material processing, but also of changing desires. So I wanted, for example, my projects to have gratefully or joyfully or delighted and things like that in it, so that I was connecting the work with also my emotional sort of stuff. I have some things on meditation here, that I would meditate deeply on the scriptures, and that I would equip the congregation for that sort of thing. That I would have some clarity. The things I wanted to gain clarity on is here, and some things that I wanted to know. I have a little list here that says areas of curiosity. And I just have 4 things here that I wanted to constantly sort of study so that I could be something of an expert on those things. So this is how I handle my resolutions, and the way I manage it is I just take this page, which is kind of a special page, and I put it right at the front of my work week bundle, so that whenever I go to do my weekly review and I pull this thing out, that's the first thing I see. So before I'm looking at my projects or my waiting fors or my next actions or anything else like this, my sort of hopes and dreams for the shape of the year are there. And oddly enough, even COVID, the pandemic, and even me getting sick didn't affect those things. It might have slowed down a few of them or changed a little bit of them, but because they were sort of habits and things to think about and stuff like this, it didn't get totally derailed by whatever happens in the world. So it wasn't like a lose 20 pounds or whatever kind of resolution. So anyway, there's a quick check-in with how I use Everbook to manage my New Year's resolutions and how I think about those things. If that's helpful, boy, please let me know. And if you have thoughts on this, boy, I'd love to see it. You can comment below or make your own video about how you manage your New Year's resolutions and send it to me. If you go to everbookforever.com, there's a way to get a hold of us and a way to send us even videos as well. And we can put it here on the YouTube channel, and we can show our little Everbook tribe about how you manage your own thoughts and resolutions and manage not only your day-to-day stuff, but also your year-to-year life as well. So hopefully that's helpful. Happy New Year to all of you. We'll see you soon with an annual review, tips and tricks. That'll be coming up probably next week when we get back home. Otherwise, be safe out there. God's peace be with you.